Welcome back, everyone, to another incredible episode of Chat with Dan here. For today we have on the show the incredible, the amazing, the badass, the superstar, the legendary, the epic Isaac. How are you, man?
Hello, I am very good.
There you go. So yeah, welcome to the show. It is incredible to have you here. Also, before we start, I do want to thank those who are tuning in. Thank you so much. Now, before we start, on the description below, you're gonna find all of Isaac's social media. Let's follow him. Plus, today's his birthday, so let's wish him a happy birthday as well. Why not? And without further more, let's jump in. Right. So, tell me. My first question here is, what drew you to acting in the first place? Like, was there a specific moment or experience that made you realize, you know what, this is gonna be my passion?
Well, yeah, it was pretty easy for me. I grew up in a hospital, because I was born with congenital heart defect and it caused a lot of other problems. So I kind of grew up in a hospital. Um, and so my mother introduced me to all the entertainment I could have that they had at that hospital, which was movies, and I would watch TV shows, and then the next big thing was video games. That so I played a lot of video games, and I would remember watching many different things from like Mr. Bean to Whose Line Is It Anyway, and stuff like that, and I just kind of latched onto it. I just thought it was really neat, and I just kind of it was gravitational, just kind of went that way. So I really wanted to act and entertain people after getting out of the hospital.
Yeah. Okay. That is awesome. And tell me, like, what were some of the video games that you played that you remember when you were, like growing up?
Oh, well, of course, you know, when I was in the hospital, it was, early in the gaming life. So, like it was, NES games and stuff like that. So,
Mm.
we had Mario and Zelda, and I think actually they didn't have a great selection of games when I was in the hospital. So I played some cheaper ones like like The Little Mermaid and stuff like that. Like
Yeah.
I just would play any game I would get my hands on. But my I grew up with I get more into video games, and so it became a huge passion. So there's dozens that are like my favorite.
Yeah, absolutely. That's cool. Now, going back here, with your acting career, tell me, like, how do you approach getting into the mindset of the character? Now, of course, do you have like a specific technique that's going on here, or like, what is your thing?
Um, it's one of those things. I when I play a character, I just kind of try to identify with what he's you know thinking, and obviously there's a lot of personality, like personal, between you and whatever character you're playing, and so you try to find that emotion and connect to it, and there's lots of ways you do it. I get into it in various different ways, whether it be like going into a genre of whatever the character's calling for or something like that, and I just kind of try to just build my mental mind frame around that.
Hmm. Okay. And is there like a particular genre or type of character that you haven't portrayed yet, but you would love to explore that anytime in the near future?
That's actually a good one, because I want to play as many characters as I can play. I was interested in everything from you know superheroes to like cowboys and westerns. That was just I kind of would like to do any facet of acting, because all of it is just this giant spectrum of different things, and I kind of want to experience as much as I can as an actor to portray anything. But um as far as like right now, I haven't played a superhero, but and that could be later. I am going to be playing one on screen later on, so I think that's really cool. And usually they cast me, or I'm casted as some kind of villain, or something that's something that has a darker side, which is
Yeah,
great. But I do like the lighthearted comedy, and characters like that too.
that's pretty cool. Yeah, that's awesome. Who knows? Maybe at some point you will get even your own action figure.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah, that would be cool. Now, how you handle, like the whole pressure and expectations that come when playing a character?
Um, that's a weird thing. I try to basically be as authentic and respectful to the character, but I don't feel a lot of pressure really playing a character as long as I know in my head that I've tried to get him right and be respectful. Like I just, to me there's not a lot of pressure because obviously I'm chose to do something, so I they thought I could. So a lot of it is just I think most actors just they're afraid of like letting people down, and that's fair. That's because entire project could hinge on you. So I'm not really pressured to be honest though, but that's just how I am.
Yeah, I mean, it's inevitable, right, for you to have like that like those feelings, right, like that pressure, even though that you, if you love, I mean, you know what you're doing, everything, and to portray this character, it's inevitable, right, for you to have these feelings, like to keep yourself cool and not let those type of thoughts coming to your head, right? So
I think that like when I was first on doing like a bigger project when I was doing this movie on Amazon called Women. I was doing a small little role, but it was like the first time they hired me for like a SAG after job, and it was like the first time I'd been on like a big 50 $60,000 camera, and I was like, oh, so I was like too scared to fail, so
yeah, of
I
course.
was just like I don't want to mess this up, even though they had changed my entire dialogue the morning of when I arrived to set. They were like, we're, memorize this in 15 minutes. That was a little bit stressful, but I was like, I don't want to mess this up. So, I came all this way. And they obviously still thought I could do it. So it's just one of those things where, you just, sometimes you're just too scared to fail.
Yeah, yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing. Now, what do you enjoy the most about the whole process of bringing a character to life?
I think everything really like I think and I think the most probably the answer to the specific question is the research. I
Hmm.
really like researching um whatever whatever genre it takes to play the character. Like if I have to research a character and they want me to play it, my whole it's so much fun to just kind of research, kind of go to a different genre category of different life point of views and stuff like that. Because I'm I've always been fascinated in different cultures, different everything. It's everything like that fascinates me. So I think it's just the research that
Yeah.
actually is my favorite part.
And how you continue to challenge yourself and grow as an actor at the same time.
Um, you know, that's kind of always in a state of flux. You're never going to be perfect, obviously, but I try to do I do the weird things. I'm like that dude if there's like a scene playing from like a TV show or something, and I've watched it before and I've known it. I'll do that thing where you kind of go along with it and you try to it's almost kind of like lip syncing a song. Like you try to act it out with your own facial expressions, your own stuff, because some of the best actors and stuff that I watched, like I was a huge fan of Star Trek growing up,
Mm.
the Next Generation. So like I would watch Patrick Stewart, and then I would just listen to him talk about acting, and I would try to do the same things he would do, and like literally be looking at the TV and just like doing my own things. Same thing. I would do that with everybody, like Kelsey Grammer from Frasier. I would, do everything, and I would study like physical comedy from Rowan Atkinson, who's most people know as Mr. Bean,
Mm.
and Hugh Laurie, Stephen Fry. I always love those kind of people, so I always tried to emulate as best as I could, and then find my own way.
Okay. Okay. Now, let's say that one day I call you and I tell you that I want to become an actor. Now, here's the thing. I have zero experience. So based on what you know, what do you think it would be a good place for me to start?
Um, today's day and age, it would probably be doing things on the internet,
Mm.
creating your own content, getting yourself out there, major consistency. That's how I've gotten to where I am, statistic wise, and
Yeah.
it's opened up a lot of doors for me. I did something weird. I basically took a character from the 80s, which is Skeletor, and just I just kind of I guess with the help of the internet, I kind of reinvented him. And so when I do that, it was entertaining and I get to put my own stuff out there. So you really have to make yourself a
Mm,
brand. I think you really have to do it. It's different than back in the day, like send a CD and a headshot to some agency or something like that. If social really matters. So creating stuff yourself and being consistent with it, that's the biggest thing. And as for like an actor, I would just study, take classes, um, anything I could do to improve the ability of acting, I guess.
mhm. Okay. Okay. Now, what is like, yeah, like what is the most important lesson that you have learned throughout your acting career so far?
Um, I don't. I guess there's two. Like you keep at it with consistency, and um, I guess I kind of had this mentality of everybody's different, and nobody should judge anybody
Mm,
or put anybody down for some belief that was taught to you when you were younger from people around you. Um, I think it was really important, like when I play a different character or somebody that obviously I am not, to at least understand and get their point of view. Like it's I always try to remember to be human than to, anything else. I
mm,
always want to be as human as possible. And I love looking at humanity from kind of an outside perspective.
mhm, mhm.
Because like I said earlier, I grew up in a hospital, so I didn't really get to do a lot of that. So, like any socializing and stuff like that. I was in a hospital most of my adolescent life. So, watching people was kind of a fascination. And I noticed that a lot of people don't really consider, like, walk a mile in his shoes or her shoes. So I always try to remember to do that.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. Wow. And what do you think that is like the biggest misconception that people have about actors?
Well, I think a lot of people think that it's easy and that
Mm-hmm.
it's um there's no challenge to what you do, and that people, you just play dress up and get paid a lot of money. I don't think a lot of people understand that. I mean, this is what the whole, that's what the SAG after strike is about.
Yeah.
Is about, like when I showed my support for SAG after and posted it up, I would get comments like, "Oh, sorry, you don't get to dress up and play pretend. I have a real job. You should get a real job too." And I'm like, you don't realize how hard it is to actually do this. Um, so I think the biggest misconception is people think that, acting is easy,
Mm.
or being an actor. And admittedly, I'm not just an actor. I am a filmmaker as well. So I do know the ins and outs of making a film, and how much struggle and frustration comes with it, to try to make something people enjoy. So it's not easy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. And either I and plus they also think that they get paid millions.
Yeah, no, no.
You're right. You're right. I mean, yeah.
That's not we wish we got paid millions just to, be, I don't know, in the background of a CSI episode, but that's just not, how it is. A lot of people don't realize that, most actors probably have another, regular 9 to 5, or have somebody, a significant other or friends or family to help them with
Mm-hmm.
their dream. There isn't nothing coming from behind one person. There's always somebody there. Or
Yeah.
you're just really stressed doing it, because
Yeah.
sometimes they'll be like, "Hey, yeah, we got an extra part for you in 2 days." And it is really hard to be there in that short of, notice. Like, I got asked to do an episode of Cobra Kai, and they were like, "Yeah, we need you here by, um in like 36 hours. And I'm like, I can't do that. That's like too much. You know what I'm saying? Like it was a background for a fight scene, but I was like, that, these people who are on call have dedicated their whole life to just be the, just show up on an extra and hopefully get, more in the door.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it's 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 crazy here, and I do think also that perhaps that wrong idea is also caused due to the whole media. That they will
Yeah.
show like the glam, like and all of that. That people tend to think like, oh, because they're like that, then they have like everything easy going. But once you start to like find out like a little bit of like what they did in order to be where they are right now, then you'd be like, okay, no, yeah, it's a totally different thing here.
Yeah. I think it's the glamorization of especially the people who had like the money to do
Yeah,
it. You know what I'm saying? Like people who had the money
totally.
to be there and like and have some kind of backing. They seem to only focus on that, like there's a lot of times where they'll look at a really famous actor and be like, oh, they were just in that show and they got famous overnight. And it's not that way. It's like look at Bryan Cranston. I mean, he was doing a Preparation H commercials locally for stuff before ever
Hmm.
doing Breaking Bad, or the same thing with Steve Carell from The Office. He was doing local chicken and burger commercials, and just trying to get by as much as they could, as much as same thing with like even newer actors like Jenna Ortega. Her mother would support her. That was where her support came from. Her mother would drive her to places and and call off work and stuff like that. So it's one of those things where a lot of people don't realize how much study, how much research. It's the same thing with Stephen Fry, Hugh Laurie, Rogan Atkinson. They all went to schools for this. They dedicated years. That was their life choice, and they just happened to be these lucky ones who worked really hard for years to get where they are.
Yeah.
But people just focus on like, oh, the overnight success is what you all are you know
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. It's
so
like for example, I one time heard that that Chris Pratt before he became Star Lord and like all of that, that he used to like flip burgers in a restaurant. He used to eat from what people left in their plates. He used to like quickly eat like every now and then in order so he can have like full like a full meal so he can continue. That's and those type of stories is like is I do I do like them because it's like showing you that hey, everything is possible. Of course, you need to put like a lot of hard work to it. And about acting, like with most of the actors that I have interviewed, most of them will tell me that you need to develop like a tough skin. Yes or yes, that's inevitable because you're gonna have be rejected 1,000 million times. But that's just the way it is. And you need to develop like that type of skin in order to continue moving forward. And for someone who is not ready for that, yeah, it's gonna be a whole pain. So it is like the other side of acting that because it's not showing us and it's not shiny, we don't pay attention to it sometimes, right? So
yeah, that's like what when I was with Billy West, who plays a lot of the characters on Futurama. He was Doug, Stimpy, Ren and Stimpy, and just literally like iconic voice actor. He said to me, he was like, most of this industry is like 95 to 99% rejection, but that one little percent really makes, that the rest of that, you know, just all worth it, and I'm kind of uh rounding up what he said, but it is very much like when I started doing voice acting, it was mostly no's or mostly never hear from the person again,
yeah,
like that you're auditioning for. And the people who did say yes and I got the role, I mean, that made it worth it. But you really, basically a lot of times when you audition, you just have to audition the best you can and then write it off, like just that's it. Don't get attached to it until it's required. Other than that, do the audition, leave, and just don't think about it again. Because if you start thinking about it, like, what do they not like about me? What are they? It'll start eating you up.
yeah, yeah. So basically, when you start to take it personally, right?
Hmm. Yeah, never take it personally unless you do get the part. Then you could be like, I personally like that.
Yeah, of course, absolutely. Now, if your life were a sitcom, what would be the title to it? But also, who would play the fictional version of yourself?
um, the I feel like if it was a sitcom, I'd probably just because of the Skeletor thing, I'd probably name it Until We Meet Again. Um, because that's what I say in the disturbing facts. He always says until we meet again, and that's become like a big like thing that everybody says to me now. Like hundreds of messages, comments, thousands of things, just being like until we meet again. So
Mm.
I was like that would probably be it. And since everybody says I look like James McAvoy, he could play me. Um, from Split,
Mm-hmm.
or
Mm-hmm.
he's
Mm-hmm.
Professor X in the young Professor X.
Yep.
Um, I Everybody compares me to like the way he looks, so I'm just like, you know what? Fine, let's let him in a sitcom. He can do it.
Yeah. I didn't knew that he was also in this show back from 2001 called Band of Brothers.
Oh yeah, I think the first place I saw him was Wanted.
Mhm. Yeah, me
That was
too.
one of
Yeah, yeah,
his
but then
big roles.
yeah, but that I mean, I did love the whole, Band of Brothers show, and I never realized that. And then later on I was like, wait a second, he looks like someone, and then I looked and I was like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. So he was on that show too. That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, he's a great actor, and the fact that I'm always compared to, like, especially I think it's my like the eyes
Hmm.
that people really like compare me to. I was like, you know what? That's a fun, comparison, because he's
Yeah.
a great actor. He's had a great career. I'm cool to look like that.
There you go. There you go. Now let's say, you know what, that one day that they're gonna make a film, right? But here's the thing. This film is gonna be in which all of the characters you have played at the moment, all of them, they're all gonna gather to celebrate your birthday. But here's the thing. We need a title to it. So how do you think that would be the perfect title for this film?
What would be the perfect title? I'm not, you know what? I was not even sure of that. Because I know it would have to have something to do with my health issues.
Hmm.
Um, so, uh, that's the one I could not name, because, after, I would want it to mean something, because, to me, surviving meant a lot. So
Yeah.
maybe it would be called that, surviving, because I've had, like I said, I've had a lot of heart issues, but it's caused me to have 5 strokes, 5 heart attacks, dozens of open heart surgeries, limbs have died inside,
Hmm.
um, and cataracts. Yeah, I had a lot of things happen. So maybe just surviving would be
Surviving.
a
I'll take it.
good one.
Okay. And if you could describe your whole career now, but you know what? This time, either on a drink or a meal, which one would it be?
Um, you know what? I guess I've been through so many things that I think I know it's gonna sound weird, but like it would be like those water shots that are going water to flavor it,
Mm-hmm.
just to give it a, like, it's good for you, but it gives you a little bit of enjoyment. Um, those flavor shots for
Yeah.
water. And even though I can't eat it as much, I like I would probably want to try to do it with my favorite food, or, well, you know, one of my favorite foods, which would be like a cheat day food, like chicken Alfredo, because it's thick, it has
Mm-hmm.
enough different, things. The sauce is great, whatever. But like I think that would just be funny to just kind of adhere with me. Otherwise, all the surviving things that I had to do, it would definitely be a burrito, because there's so many different layers to it.
Okay. Okay.
Um, so I mean, that's probably the best I could come up with. Somebody else could probably come up with a better one.
Yeah. Okay. I'll take it. And what are some of the things that we can expect from you in the future?
Well, I am currently working on a couple of concept film stuff. I can't really do anything until SAG-AFTRA, does the strike and everything. But
Absolutely.
um, that's one of those things where I just have to kind of hold off. But when it does pick up, I get to work on a superhero series, and I get to play a superhero live action on screen. And I've done all the suit test. It's a whole body suit, mask, everything. It's really great. I'm really happy about that, because it's this strong character I never could
Mm.
like do when I was
Hmm.
younger. I could never even imagine being somebody who was this strong. And like when you're a sick kid, it's almost an unreachable goal, but now I get to actually get lucky enough to do it. So, I really want to do that. Some people are reaching out to me about Skeletor in the future, which I'm really excited about because
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm really excited for the fact that I get to help reinvent one of the best iconic, cartoon action figure, villains that literally has ever been.
Yeah, of all time,
And
definitely. Hmm.
and basically the fact that I get to have a chance to possibly voice him in some official, you know, thing would be just super amazing. And
Yeah.
then we're also working on concepts for I'm working on concepts for like two or three different shows. So I'm really happy about that. So there's a lot, and I'm always going to come out with more Skeletor stuff until somebody forced me to stop. So you
Yeah,
can
of
always
course.
expect the Skeletor stuff on my profiles.
There you go. All right. And like, what motivates you? We all have those days that we just want to quit. We just want to stop and do it and do something else. So basically, like how you maintain your self focus, regardless of how difficult and a specific moment in your life might be. You continue moving forward and be like, you know what, this is not gonna stop me. I'm just gonna keep going.
Honestly, I I feel bad saying it, but I've never not been focused on what I'm doing. I've always been 100% mentally going at it because, like I said, growing up the way I did in the hospital and then finally getting out and then having the
Totally.
ability to do anything was one of those things that made me just super happy about being alive and being here. So the fact that I am alive and that I get to do it just super focuses me on whatever I want to do.
Mhm.
I wanted to pursue voice acting, so I am doing that. I wanted to pursue acting, so I am doing that. And I guess the inside of me is going, "Hey, you're alive to do this." You know, that's it.
Mm.
You're just alive. And I get a unique perspective because I guess most people don't go through a lot like that, and a lot of times could take life for granted, not because they don't have a bad life or anything. It's just that they don't have the threat of it all the time growing up of saying you might die here, in the
Hmm.
next few days or the next few hours or weeks. We don't know how long you're going to live, but the fact that I'm here always keeps me on it. So I guess if I were to tell it to somebody else, I would say, you're alive. You exist here. You have one life to do what you want, you know, pursue it as much as you can and be happy trying to do that.
Yeah.
Be happy you have the chance. You're alive to be here to try to do what you want.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. I mean, we tend to think. I mean, we tend to be like that sometimes, right? That we take things for granted. We tend to be like, we'll do this tomorrow, right? Or nah, no rush. I can do that tomorrow too, or things like that. But when you start to really think about, like, we only have like one, like, yeah, like one life, one day, let's go one day at a time. But and that what happened yesterday is gone, like things like that. I do tend to also be like, pay attention. I mean, enjoy everything of it, but also do at that moment what you want, and make sure that you are enjoying it to it, or that
Mm,
perhaps you have like a line, like a perhaps you can let's say that you're acting, right, and you can sustain that because you need to have like another job. That's fine, but make sure that while you're working on it, that you are working for something greater, right, and you're not just wasting time, be like, yeah, right. So yeah.
yeah, I've got lots of friends who are like that, who work a basic, 9 to 5 job and, customer service and all that stuff. But,
Totally.
as long as you can work on your dream while you're doing that
There
kind
you
of
go.
thing,
Hmm.
like you just say, okay, I have to do this to survive. But on my off time or, my own time, I'm going to try to push towards what I want to do. And I think that's always the best mentality.
Hmm.
It may suck for the situation that you're in right now, but try to work yourself out of it or towards whatever you want to do,
Totally.
passionate about and
Totally.
find passion. There's a lot of people who don't have a passion to do anything. And I think that's really sad. So I would be like, find a passion, something you love doing, because that's what life's all about.
There you go. I love it. And my last question here is, let's say that we're gonna make a film out of the episode we just did right now. But here's the thing. We need a title. So what would you think would be the best title for this episode?
I'll have to go back to that until we meet again, because you never know.
Until we meet again. I'll take it. All right. I mean, at the end, what can I say? I mean, it's cool what you do. It's awesome. I mean, the fact that you're making it happen, that you have done like so many things here and there, that you're achieving them, that you're focused to it, and also the fact that you haven't that you don't let yourself feel down to it and you just keep moving and enjoying it. I mean, that's incredible, man. I mean, I'm super sure that our next conversation, if it's gonna be about the multiple thousands projects you've been here, it's inevitable. I'm super sure of it because hey, you're doing it because you like it, but also because yeah, something so simple as some people might think, which is doing what makes you happy. I mean, we tend to think. I mean, we all know that it's a pain in the butt, but you are doing it, and yeah, it's awesome here. So
Yeah, I mean, that's what it's all about. And, I always try to make people feel good that are around me, make them laugh, because, making people feel great, entertaining is kind of what I felt like I was built for. It's my passion. So, I
yeah,
could, I like making people laugh, from like the high pitched, skeletal voice to, the low pitched Patrick Warburton, Kronk from Emperor's New Groove, low,
mm,
low voice like this. That's, really recognizable. Joe Swanson, Brock Sampson from,
mm,
it's anything in between, as long as people laugh and have a good time and feel good. I think that's what's important.
that's incredible, man. I love that. And yeah, I do want to thank also those who watch this or listen to it. Now on the description below, as I said at the beginning, you're gonna find all of Isaac's social media. Let's follow him. Hashtag Team Isaac. He's incredible and he's a badass. We all know that. We all know that by now. And again, man, thank you so much for making this happen. Keep killing it. Keep rocking. And I'll see you in the next one.
Thank you so much.
All right.